Good morning. We're back. 5 o'clock is the time. Some of the top stories we're working on for you this morning. The latest with Michael Jackson, the doctor, now the focus of a manslaughter investigation. We'll have the very latest coming up for you in just a moment. Also this morning, Governor Schwarzenegger is expected to sign the state's budget today, but more cuts to health and welfare programs are expected. We'll tell you what those mean for you and me coming up. Also, Bank of America this morning is planning to reduce 10% of its 6,000 branches across the nation. Yeah, some 600 banks going to be closing. B of A is shutting down. More on that coming up in just a moment. And we're also following the weather this morning. A live look here from our Golden Gate Bridge camera where we can see the traffic's just fine. A little fog out there. In fact, the marine layer with us as it has been for the past few days. Let's get over to the Weather Center and get our first look at it with Evelyn.
Good morning, James. We're taking a look at Storm Tracker 4 and a similar story today, but we are cooling down a bit cooler today, upper 50s and 60s expected. James.
All right, Evelyn, thank you very much. Now on to those latest details in the death of Michael Jackson. Law enforcement officials with close knowledge of the investigation now say Jackson's personal doctor was the person who administered the powerful drug that authorities think, in fact, killed him. The officials told police that Dr. Conrad Murray gave Jackson propofol the last night of his life. Murray is the subject, of course, of a manslaughter investigation. The lawyer for Michael Jackson's personal physician says Dr. Conrad Murray wouldn't comment, that is, on rumor, innuendo, and unnamed sources. The doctor's lawyer previously said his client didn't prescribe anything to Jackson that could have killed him. Jackson's toxicology results could be released sometime this week. We'll, of course, bring those to you as soon as we find out the results. In the meantime, we are tracking the latest online this morning. And we went to TMZ.com. They've been the forefront of some of the latest leaks coming out of the LAPD. And on one of their latest write-ups this morning says the reason police believe that Dr. Murray gave Michael Jackson propofol is because Dr. Murray told them. Turns out 2 days after Jackson's death, the doctor told LAPD detectives that he administered propofol to the singer just hours before he died. That, according to at least multiple law enforcement sources, says TMZ. They believe at this point that Dr. Conrad Murray gave him propofol and simply didn't pay attention when the singer's heart stopped beating. So inattentiveness, they say, was part of all of this. Their investigation continues, of course, as we said. Dr. Murray, the center right now of a manslaughter investigation. So we'll see what happens coming out of that. Keep it tuned here. We'll bring you the latest on Kron 4 News and also our website, kron4.com. We've got the latest information there as well. All right, 5:05 the time. The other developing story that we're following this morning, a man and a woman were killed in a shooting in Richmond. It happened just before 11 last night. Officers were responding to the report of a shooting, gunshots around Carlson Street near 47th Street. A man and a woman in a Nissan had been stopped at a stoplight heading north on Carlson when an unknown suspect fired several shots into that car. The man, the male driver, was pronounced dead at the scene. The woman was taken to a hospital. She was later pronounced dead there. No suspects have been identified, and police at this point are offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and/or a conviction. All right, 5:05 the time. The latest with the budget now. Governor Schwarzenegger will sign the state's budget at 11 o'clock this morning, but expect more cuts to health and welfare programs when the governor issues line item vetoes before signing. California was left with a $1.1 billion shortfall after the Assembly rejected two measures that would have taken transportation funding from local governments and also authorized additional oil drilling off the Santa Barbara coast. Now, according to the governor's spokesperson, Schwarzenegger is not expected to cut the full $1.1 billion when he signs the budget, but he will take a significant chunk out of it with his line item veto power. And while fiscally insignificant, changes to the state's high school exit exam policy tucked into the state budget deal last week could offer a different future for thousands of disabled children that were denied diplomas over the last 2 years. The deal, expected to be signed this morning, suspends the exit exam graduation requirement for special education students, meaning that special ed students in the classes of 2010 and perhaps beyond would no longer have to pass the high-stakes test to graduate. All right, 5:06. We're also following the traffic this morning. For the latest on that, let's head to the traffic center where George Rask is standing by. Good morning, George.
Thank you, James. Good morning. Well, Drew Harmon's handed off the baton, and it had no hot spots on it, so that's good news. It's no problems right now.
All right, we'll check in with you in a little bit. Thank you so much, George. Now on to some other stories for you, and new details, in fact. Gavin Newsom's campaign manager has resigned. Eric J., the man behind Newsom's presence on social networking websites like Facebook and Twitter, has left the San Francisco mayor's campaign for governor. Jay also helped engineer Newsom's place on the Prop 8 debate. His replacement, Gary South, who helped elect and re-elect Gray Davis and has a more traditional campaign strategy. Newsom trails opponent Attorney General Jerry Brown in campaign contributions, so they're looking to turn that around with this change in position. And also for you new this morning, Bank of America Corporation is planning to reduce its 6,100 branch network by about 10%, according to the Wall Street Journal this morning. The Journal cited the bank's chief executive, Kenneth Lewis, telling investors at a meeting in Charlotte, North Carolina last Thursday. The president of Bank of America's Consumer and Small Business Bank also said that branch closures are planned, cautioning that it would be premature, though, to specify how many locations would be closed. No time frame has been given for those closures either. We'll let you know if any of them are here in the Bay Area. Also new this morning, the Space Shuttle Endeavour is set to undock from the International Space Station today, ending, of course, the largest space gathering ever. 13 people have been packed into the space station for the last 16 days. This morning, though, the 7 astronauts aboard the shuttle will spend 3 more days in space before returning to Earth on Friday. Astronauts completed their 5th and final spacewalk yesterday, and NASA says so far the mission has been a complete success.
System at the station, along with
all right, 5:09 the time. We're going to take another break here. We'll be back in just a moment with more news, weather, and traffic, so stay tuned for that. As we go, a live picture from our roof camera this morning, where the fog still impacting coastal communities, cities around the bay, and inland as well. We saw the marine layer stretching in as far east as Walnut Creek. Nice cool morning for you. We'll be right back in a moment.